Jake here for American Trucks, and today I'm taking a look at the Flowmaster Outlaw dual exhaust system with black tips, fitting 2021 and newer 5-liter F-150s. If other exhausts are just too subdued for your taste and you're looking for the ultimate sound out of your F-150, then this is going to be right up your alley. It combines that classic Flowmaster rumble with some solid construction and the ability to switch up where the exhaust exits on the truck. But of course, the biggest reason to snag this one has got to be the sound. Now, as you heard from the clips in the beginning of our video, this is going to get a solid 4 out of 5 on our loudness meter. In fact, I'd almost give it a full 5 out of 5, except that it does still have a muffler, thus keeping it a bit more civil. But make no mistake, this setup is rowdy. It's a tale as old as time, a Flowmaster exhaust on a big American V8, but it continues to be a popular setup for good reason. It just sounds right. And as those sound clips no doubt showed, this particular Flowmaster really wakes up the sound of the Coyote V8 in the F-150, taking it from a bit more of a domestic dog to just shy of a screaming banshee. In fact, it's great. You get that burbly, grumbly type of sound that's typically associated with an old muscle car, and a lot of bark when you really get on it too. Now, since this is a full catback system, this is going to replace your stock muffler and resonator, leaving you with just this compact Super 10 muffler. Now, this is a single chamber muffler that utilizes Flowmaster's patented DeltaFlow technology and gives you that unique sound profile. It also helps cancel out some of the unwanted noise by utilizing delta-shaped, meaning triangular baffles, within the chamber of the muffler to bring some sound waves together in a way that helps eliminate dissonant or unpleasant frequencies. So this technology also helps with exhaust gas scavenging as it creates a vacuum past the baffles, pulling those gases through the muffler and assisting with overall flow. So that means you're going to get better flow throughout the system, and this is also going to help you avoid some drone, which, as you heard from the interior clips earlier, is a good thing because there is quite a bit more volume inside of the cabin of the truck with this setup on. But if you want to hear your exhaust, this is going to give you exactly that, just without some of the headaches that might come with other systems. Just be forewarned, it is going to be loud. Now, you also get the option to have the exhaust exit either out the sides behind the rear tires or straight out of the back under the bumper. So if you like that classic dual outlet look, you're going to use these pipes right here. This is going to have it exit right under the rear bumper. Or let's say if you do a lot of towing or you just like that look, you can have them exit out the sides using these pipes right here. The tips will just come out right behind your rear wheels. Or you can also change it up depending on how you're feeling. Definitely hang on to either one, whichever one you use. You can switch it out later if you want. You also get the necessary new hanger and isolator to help get the driver's side pipe hung up, and it doesn't require you to modify your truck at all or leave your spare tire at home. This is going to integrate just like a stock system. And either way you set it up, it's still going to look cool because you get these huge 4-inch black ceramic coated tips to finish it off. These are dual wall tips. They're really nice and they give your truck that aggressive look to go with the aggressive sound. Construction here is all 3-inch 16-gauge mandrel bent 409 grade stainless steel. Now, that's a lot to take in at one time, but what it means is that you're going to get good exhaust flow, some solid protection against corrosion and rust, though it won't be quite as much as, say, a system made out of T304 stainless. And like we were talking about a moment ago, these 4-inch tips are finished off with that black ceramic coating. These are dual wall tips too, so they're going to be nice and look good for a long time to come. As far as pricing goes, this system is going to run you about $1,025, putting it in the middle of the category price-wise. Now, you will be, of course, saving some money versus some of the more intricate systems with, say, switchable valves or ones that are made from T304 stainless. But you still get a really great sound here, good quality, and let's not forget the flexibility to change up the look, so you do get some really great benefits here. Installation is going to get a 2 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and it should take you about 2 hours to complete. Now, like any exhaust, this can be a bit finicky, just given the lack of space, but nothing that you can't handle at home. Do be forewarned though, depending on your cab or bed size, you may need to make a cut to this inlet pipe or use the extension that's provided, again, depending on what cab and bed size you have. And of course, there's a lot to do here, but you've got all the clamps and everything you need to put it together, and this will just go together and bolt right on, utilizing all of your factory exhaust hangers. So again, no need to modify anything on your truck. So with that, let's go ahead and head over to the install bay where we'll show you how to do this.
Tools required for this install include an impact gun, a ratchet, an exhaust hanger remover, a 14 and 15 millimeter wrench, an extension, a 10, 14, 15, and 17 millimeter socket, and a pry bar. What's up, guys? Today we're installing an exhaust on our F-150. First, we're gonna watch a quick video showing you how to uninstall the stock exhaust, and then I'll meet you right back here for the install.
Start by grabbing your 13mm socket and undoing the 2 bolts at the flange. Next, take your exhaust hanger removal tool and get the muffler out of the isolator. Next, we're going to slide our exhaust towards the tail end so we can get them out of the 2 additional hangers, and then we're going to drop the whole exhaust as a full. I grabbed a buddy to help me out with that.
So our first step is to install our front pipe. Now this is going to bolt up to the flange that we removed our 2 factory bolts from. Now we have our flange, we have a flat edge and a beveled edge. The beveled side is going to go down or towards the front. So we'll slide that onto our front pipe. Get that raised up into place. Got a pole jack here just to support the weight of the back half of our pipe while we get our bolts installed up front. So now at this point we can line up our flange and we can reinstall our factory 13mm bolts. However, our hardware has been replaced, so we have a 17mm bolt with a 15mm nut. And then now we can grab our 17mm socket and 15mm wrench to tighten down our flange. So next we can install our hanger clamp onto our front pipe. And now once we have our clamp slid over our pipe, we can slide that into our isolator. Now once we have that installed into our isolator, we can take a 15mm socket to tighten down our clamp. And then we can remove our pole jack and move on to our next step. Next we can install our muffler. So we're going to take one of our 3-inch clamps, slide it over the edge, and then we'll slide that onto our front pipe. And then we can get our clamp in place and take a 15mm socket to tighten that down. So now before we start installing our tailpipes, we're going to get our hanger knocked out of the way first. Now this is going to go onto our frame rail. We have a bolt with a flat plate that's going to go from the inside to the outside of our frame rail. And then we'll slide our hanger onto that, followed by a lock washer and our nut. And then once we have that installed, we can take a 14mm socket and 14mm wrench to tighten it down. So now we can install our driver side over axle pipe. So we're gonna have to reinstall our factory hanger onto the pipe, and then we can install one of our 3-inch clamps. We'll snake that over the axle, slide it into our muffler outlet. And now we can slide our hanger into place and reinstall our 10mm bolt on the other side. And then we can grab our 10mm socket to tighten down that bolt. Now once we have our hanger installed, we can come back to our clamp and get it slid into position. And then grab our 15mm socket to tighten it down. So now we can install our driver's side tailpipe. I've got my 3-inch clamp slid over the edge. So now we can come back to the hanger that we installed and slide in our rod. Now we can come back and grab our clamp. We'll slide that into position and take a 15mm socket to tighten it down. Now we can install our driver's side over axle pipe. So we'll slide that over the axle. We're gonna have to reinstall our other hanger. So we can slide that onto our rod. Next we can take another one of our 3-inch clamps and slide it over our muffler outlet. And then we can slide our over axle pipe into our muffler outlet. And then we can reinstall our hanger in the rear. So now we can reinstall our 2 factory 10mm bolts. So now I'm just grabbing a pry bar just to make this a little bit easier to line up. And then we can grab our 10mm socket to tighten down our 2 bolts. Now we can come back to our muffler outlet and tighten down our clamp. So once again, we're using that 15mm socket. So now before we move on to our next step, it's important to note that this kit does give you the option of what kind of exhaust setup you would like. We have this pipe here that'll slide on if you want just a dual out the back setup, or if you want more of that side exit, we have this pipe that'll slide on to give you the side exit. So now once you figured out which setup you would like to do, we can take a 3-inch clamp and slide it over our pipe. And then we'll wiggle our pipe into place. We'll get our clamp set up at the edge there. And then we can take our 15mm socket to tighten down our clamp. And now we're ready to install our tip. So we'll wiggle that onto our pipe. You can set this up to have as much poke or as little as you would like. I'm gonna get it to sit pretty flush here. And then we'll grab a 14mm socket and a 14mm wrench to tighten down our tip. And then once we're done with our tip and our last tailpipe, we can repeat the same process on the other side. So that'll wrap up this review and install of the Flowmaster Outlaw dual exhaust system with black tips for side/rear exit for your 2021 and newer 5.0 liter F-150, excluding the Tremor. Thank you for watching, and for all things F-150, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.